The Iron Man suit was initially a cage, acting as a brilliant, high-tech life support system that remained a separate machine Tony Stark had to enter. A dangerous delay always existed between his thought and the servo motor's reaction, creating a gap where people could die. Stark aimed to remove that gap, so the armor became something he was, rather than something he wore. This story covers the moment Tony Stark ceased being a pilot and transformed into a weapon by rewriting his own DNA. In early 2005, a terrorist named Malin proved Iron Man was obsolete, not with better gear, but by becoming a breathing biological weapon, enhanced by the Extremis Serum. Their conflict resembled a massacre rather than a battle, because Malin moved faster than Stark's targeting computer could track. He tore through the armor easily and left Tony broken in a pool of his own blood. For the first time, the billionaire genius faced the cold reality that the machine was perfect while the man inside was too slow, making flesh the weak link. The solution came from Dr. Maya Hansen, an old friend and geneticist who created Extremis to rewrite the human repair center. The serum hacked the body's control center to tell the brain that the body needed rebuilding from scratch. It was designed to create super soldiers, capable of healing from severe damage and moving with immense speed, though it remained unstable and killed most test subjects. Stark ignored the risk while lying on a medical table with shattered bones, viewing Extremis as an upgrade path rather than a cure. He proposed a modification others considered too dangerous. Tony wanted to interface with the world rather than just gaining strength or healing. He modified the Extremis dose to include a technological control sheath that wired his brain directly into the electromagnetic spectrum. This eliminated the need for keyboards or voice commands, allowing the machine to obey his thoughts instantly. Crossing the line from human to post-human, he injected the virus, knowing it would liquefy and rebuild his internal organs. He accepted this dangerous transformation over the certainty of defeat. The process involved days of Tony Stark lying in a coma, while his body encased itself in a cocoon of scabs and darkened flesh. Inside that shell, his biology was shredded and knitted back together to improve his organs. His nervous system was rewired to conduct bioelectric signals, capable of interfacing with satellites. This violent biological reconstruction resulted in something new breaking out of the chrysalis. He looked the same, but under the skin, he had become a biological hard drive, ready to install the Iron Man software directly into his nervous system. We pulled this topic from a debate in the comments section last week, so thank you to everyone who suggested examining the darker side of Stark's tech. This video exists because of those ideas. If you have another scenario you want us to cover, write it below so we can pick the most liked ones for future scripts. Hitting subscribe helps us keep the lights on if you enjoy this detailed look at the lore. The most radical change involved where he kept the armor, as Tony previously carried a suitcase or waited for a deployment pod. After the transformation, the gold undersheath connecting to his nerves was stored in the hollows of his bones. He hollowed out his own skeleton to use as a storage locker for nanotechnology. When he needed to suit up, the gold material bled out of his pores to coat his skin in seconds. This meant the suit was hardwired to his brainstem, dropping lag time to 0. So they moved as one organism. Stark's powers extended beyond the suit, turning him into a living, capable of seeing through orbiting satellites without a screen. He could mentally dial cell phones or access secure military servers by focusing his thought, viewing the world as a stream of accessible data. In one instance, he held a conversation while simultaneously piloting the Iron Man armor remotely to fight a battle miles away. This ability made him a technopath and the most informed person on the planet, though it detached him from normal human interaction. Facing Malin again became an execution rather than a fight. The enhanced terrorist found himself battling a ghost as Stark moved with mathematical precision and his healing factor repaired damage instantly. His reaction times exceeded human limits because his brain processed the fight like a supercomputer. He dodged bullets by calculating their trajectory before the trigger was pulled. Tony ended the fight brutally, proving he had evolved past human limitations, though the victory felt cold after mutilating his own nature to achieve it. This upgrade occurred right before the Marvel Civil War event, explaining why Tony felt so confident having the database of every registered superhero stored in his brain. He effectively became the hard drive, making him dangerous to his former friends. Captain America found himself fighting a system that could analyze his style and predict his next move in nanoseconds. Extremis made Tony an authoritarian figure because he genuinely believed his enhanced biology allowed him to process the world's problems better than anyone else. Every system has a weakness, and during the secret invasion of 2008, the Skrulls found a way to hack the Extremis virus. Since Tony's biology was digital, alien invaders infected him with a computer virus that shut down his body and trapped him in his own mind. The technology that empowered him also made him uniquely vulnerable. To survive, Tony wiped his own brain and deleted years of memories to reboot his system, proving that mixing flesh and data carries a heavy price. Tony eventually purged the original Extremis, but continued with the bleeding edge armor by 2010. This version perfected the concept by making the entire suit from nanobots stored in his body, rather than just the undersheath. The suit could form clothes or weapons at a thought, using advanced nanotechnology to float within his system instead of relying on bone storage. The comic version was far more visceral than the Avengers Infinity War adaptation, resembling a liquid metal nightmare bleeding from his eyes and skin. The darkest chapter arrived in 2014 with the superior Iron Man storyline, after a spell inverted Tony's moral compass. He released Extremis 3.0 as a smartphone app that physically perfected users by making them beautiful and healthy. The free trial addicted the population to perfection, before he started charging $99 a day. This demonstrated the technology's danger in the hands of a man with no ethics, as he wore the EndoSim armor and played God. Iron Man 3 adapted the Extremis storyline, but changed the ending so Tony removes the infection from himself. And Pepper Potts. The studio likely considered a hero storing metal in hollowed-out bones too grotesque for general audiences, as it shifts the tone from superhero action to body horror. The MCU Tony remained a man in a suit to keep his humanity intact. In contrast, the comic version accepted losing his humanity to save it, distinguishing the futurist from the hero. The experience changed how writers handled Iron Man, even after he lost the Extremis powers. He became a bioengineer rather than just a mechanic, with modern suits, like the Model Prime, relying on the fluidity and connection Extremis introduced. The story showed that Tony Stark himself is the invention, treating his body as a proto-be improved or upgraded. Extremis proved he would damage his own body to gain an advantage in battle. The Extremis era asks how much of oneself can be replaced before humanity is lost. Tony Stark gained immense power to control the digital world and heal quickly, but he also isolated himself. He functioned like a machine, processing logic over emotion, often leaving the present behind to pursue the future. This story warns that integrating tech and biology requires deleting parts of oneself to make room for the upgrade. Tony Stark's experiment with Extremis wasn't simply a power increase. It revealed a future where the distinction between creator and creation dissolves. He demonstrated that the most effective machine is one you become rather than one you wear. That drive to evolve makes him Earth's greatest defender, and occasionally, a major threat. If you want more breakdowns of comic storylines that movies avoided, subscribe and check the playlist on screen. The future arrives fast, so do not get left behind.